Hello everyone, this is a Java video tutorial. If you're here to learn Java, you're in the right place. If you're not, then perhaps you're on the wrong video. But let's just assume you're here to learn Java anyway. Alright, so the first thing you want to do, you want to create a project. And just so you guys know, we are going to be using Netbeans IDE for this. There'll be a link in the description on where you can download this if you haven't already downloaded it. Alright, so first thing you want to do, I've already done this, but I'll just go through the steps for you. Create a new project, a new Java project button here. And you say Java application, right? Make sure it's on Java application. You click next, you give your project a name. Whatever, it can be absolutely anything. I recommend those capital, and you will click finish off. Next thing you want to right click on source packages. After double clicking in your project, you click new, Java package, give your package name. You can actually name it the same as your project name if you want, in lowercase. That's what I've done. Alright, next thing after this is inside of this package, you want to right click new Java class, and that's how you create a class in Java. Now you give your class a name, again, start with a capital letter. After you've done that, just click finish and you have your class. Okay, so to begin with, let's cover the main method. So, the main method, what is that? Okay, it is basically whenever that program is run, you can click like one file, it is automatically going to look for a method called main. And it's just the place that the compiler will look for when your program is run. And that's where your program begins. So I'll show you how to write this. You don't have to know much about this right now. We'll cover it later in depth in another video. But for now, just make a new method, public, this, static, void, and main, and two rounded brackets, and followed by two curly brackets. Inside the rounded brackets, I wanted to put the word string with a capital S, then args, all lowercase, followed by two square brackets. Again, we'll cover the main method later on in another video, so don't worry about it, just follow as I go on, you'll understand later. Alright, so this is your main method. Now, inside of this method, let's create some variables. What are variables? In programming languages, most programming languages, use something that is known as a variable to store information that you can later use in your program. So if you want to store something, then refer back to it later on. That's variables. It's just that's what variables are. Variables can be they can have different data types, so it's a type of data that variables store. So you can store a whole bunch of different data, text, numbers, numbers with decimal places, and so on. Let's just start with the basics. As I just said, let's start with text. How do you store text in Java? Create a variable. First, we want to write the word string again. And we just give it a variable a name. So the reason why we have to give a variable a name is so that when later on in your program you want to refer to it, the program knows what variable you're talking about. So we can give it a variable name, my string. And now use the equals sign on your keyboard. This sign does not mean equals in Java, it means the sign. What this means is whatever you put after this sign, it's going to be stored into whatever was before it. In this case, your string. So when you want Java to know that something is text, you have to put it in quotation marks like this. So you will just get for your favorite food. Everyone likes chicken, right? Unless you don't eat meat, then I don't know, corn. Alright, let's have it. So you've got now one variable here called my string. And inside of that is some text. In this case, it's chicken. It's giving you this little line. It's saying it's not being used. That just means whenever you get something like this, you can hover over and it will give you a little bit of information of it. And it's just saying, it's just telling you, okay, so I've got this variable, but you're not using it. One thing, Java, case sensitive. So it does matter whether you write string with a lowercase or an uppercase. In this case, it has to be uppercase. Otherwise, it will not be recognized as a string, and you'll get an error. Okay, let's make another variable. Let's make one for numbers. So we want to store a whole number, any number, let's say 10. So I thought I would have to type int. Int is the data type used to store whole numbers in Java. I'm going to call it my number. So you just, when it comes to numbers, you just put them in without any quotation marks, just as is. So now you know how you can store numbers for later use in your program and store text. But what if you want to store numbers that have decimal places in them, right? You can't do anything. Let me see. I'll show you. Say 10.5. You can't do that. You're trying to put a decimal value, a number with a decimal point, inside of an integer. And an integer data type is only used for whole numbers without any decimal places. So how do we do that? How do we store the numbers with decimal places? We use another data type known as double. Put in here 10.1. There we go. So now you have successfully created 3 variables, one to store text, one to store a whole number, and one to store decimal number with a decimal place. Okay, now we have these variables. It's kind of important. What can we do with these variables? Let's use them. Before I do that, you see how I've named all my variables? This is a common naming convention. The way you name your variables is always the first letter should be lowercase, right? Never capital like when you name a class. And this also holds for any method. There should be another video about methods uploaded around the same time as this one. So yeah, check that one out. So now that we've got some variables, let's do something with it. Let's print them out. System, type system, then follow that with a dot system, dot, then you type out, dot, print. Okay. Right, hello world. Anyway, so you've got this print out. If we were to run this right now, let's see what happens. Right, so you right click this, click run file. As you can see, it printed hello world. Now let's try printing our variables. Now, how do you refer to variables? Well, you gave your variables a name when you declared them up top, so that's how you refer to them. So I want to print out my favorite food, and we know that it's a string called my string. So we just say my string, and Java is clever. Well, so it knows that my string actually is holding the value chicken. So when you do this, you expect it to print the word chicken. So we run. There you go, hello world chicken. Well, that's kind of messy and not very nice. So how do we fix that? Well, print, when you use system.out.print, it just prints everything out on one line. So to make it a bit neater, what we can do is change this command ever so slightly. So we add ln, which means line for this command. We say system.out.print line. And what this is, every time you call this command, it will print a new line after the word itself. Again, and you can just say this. Oh, if you want to combine a bunch of variables when printing out, you can use a plus sign, and then you can use a quotes, for example. So we're going to combine that variable, my string, with, let's say, my number. In Nando's costs about, we'll put a pound sign for now, plus, we put the variable, my number. Okay, so let's just see what prints out when we do this. Let's just say, we just change that by adding a space, we run this, space. Okay, you've got a nice complete sentence there. And you've done this by using variables. As you can see, double is not being used here. And yeah, so now you successfully stored information or data into a variable and then reuse that later on, and you've been able to reuse it later in the program. That pretty much covers variables, or at least the basic gist of what variables are and how you use them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, if you did enjoy it, and you learned something, please comment, rate, and subscribe. If not, then leave a, you can leave a nasty comment. Pretty much it.